So it's Vlogmas again. We have been doing Vlogmas since 2019. That was the first Vlogmas. So it's 19, 20, 21. This is our fourth Vlogmas. And another milestone for the channel is that we've crossed 2 million total views, which is not a lot compared to a lot of most of YouTube. Most of the time, like one video can get 2 or 3 million views, but we're a small channel because we want to be a small channel. We're choosing. No, I'm kidding. We would love for the channel to be bigger. Hey, it's Vlogmas. Merry Christmas in advance because I'm hoping that you stop by, even though when it comes to getting the word out on this particular Vlogmas, well, it's sort of my fault for various reasons. One, I usually do a promotional video of some kind saying, hey, Vlogmas is coming. This is a big deal. And I didn't do that this time. So it's going to have to be a word of mouth thing. So make sure that you share, like, and all that stuff. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Today we're talking about beards. Check it out. Check it out. Now, this mark here on my nose, this is, I'm old, like older, I should say, turning 49 this coming year, feeling old. So in feeling old-ish, I'm on the CPAP thing, when you sleep. Been on that for about 10 years. Best thing that's ever happened to me as far as sleep is concerned. It's like I went most of my life sleep deprived, and then suddenly the CPAP machine. But I got a new mask, and the new mask, it's made like this mark on my nose, taken away from this beautiful beard I'm sporting right now. So yeah, well, maybe supporting, maybe that's the right word too. These things are like, I don't normally have a beard. Carolyn hates facial hair. She absolutely can't stand it. She doesn't mind the goatee. She likes that, but she wants me to keep my head shaved. And this, I think it's a Vin Diesel thing. I think she loves Vin Diesel, and that's what it's really all about. But yeah, so I got to shave all of this through here. She's kind of making me. Anyway, as of right now, it's like we've been into this for 2 minutes, and we've got absolutely no one here. I'm not expecting a lot of help from YouTube either, getting the word out. YouTube's had some glitches lately. Not exactly sure what's going on there. And if you notice, we don't have our tree up yet. The space is cleared for the tree, but normally the past few years, we just don't tend to get to the tree until a little later in December. So that's okay. We just leave it up longer. But I'm glad that you're here. Even if you're watching this in the replay, that's awesome. And we needed this first night for no other reason to just sort of make sure I remember how to do this kind of stuff, like how to go live, because that was the thing. We had set these goals years ago. We had set these goals about, hey, we're going to go live more, and we're going to engage more, as far as during the year. That didn't work out too well. It just didn't. We wanted to, but I don't know, it just didn't. I think my New Year's resolution this year is to set fewer goals. To set fewer goals. I think that's the number one priority, is not to have so many number one priorities. I had too many this past year. So my time has been consumed lately in the past few weeks of remodeling our church's like fellowship hall, making it a multi-purpose area as opposed to just fellowship hall. So it's going to be beautiful when we're done. So I've spent so much time doing that. And of course, this past year, we've been on a lot of adventures, and we've taken you with us. DJ, good evening. Welcome to the Vlogmas that we've all come to know so well. It didn't get out, DJ. The word didn't get out. I didn't make a promotional thing like I always do. The whole video where I talk about this, that, and the other. I didn't do that this time. And so I'm kind of paying the price, but I don't think I'm getting a lot of help from YouTube on this as far as, getting the word out in a good time. YouTube is kind of glitchy lately. They're rolling out new stuff. So I'm going to say it's that. I know it's not personal. Why would they do anything personal to me? It could be the beard. I don't know. But that's, well, one, it's always good to see you. Of course, I hope things are going great in Arizona, and we're counting down. I know you are. I'm counting down the days to the first snow. I know you are as well. It's like every day. This looks like snow, but not a good snow. The white. I remember when this beard here. I remember when it was just solid red. I know, one of those. And my son, who had black hair, like his facial hair was black forever and a day. And I was like, wow, he's just black. And one day he just started changing colors, and now his is red. So it's kind of crazy. But the Christmas beard, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking about this evening, is like you make that commitment, no shave November. You make that commitment to no shave in December or whatever. And now I'm into like the second week because I started this during Thanksgiving, and the goal was to get through December, to get to December 31st, and just have some facial hair. That was the goal. And I'm like, what, 2 weeks into it now, and I'm already like, I don't know, it's starting to itch. It's like, just. And then if I rub up against something, it's like that little prickly feeling. Ow, 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 one of those. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to hold off and not shave. It's just kind of different for me. Just a different thing. I had years ago when I first started this channel. I think it was 28. Well, it's 2017. I think I had a beard for a while that summer, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody else in the room grow a beard? Ladies, you can talk too, because it happens. You know, bad joke. Is that a bad joke? Probably a bad joke. Probably a bad joke. But like I said, it's just pricking me to death. It has been a crazy year though. We hit the caves. Billy McDaniels and myself, we went over to West Virginia. We did some cave exploring. And I did another top 10, another Appalachian facts video, which it's a long video. It's like 30 minutes long. And I know Nathan DJ was telling me last year, he was like, shorten videos, short and sweet, do some shorts. And it was like I resisted for a lot of the year. I was like, I shall not make shorter videos. I'm making shorter videos now, but a little better. But the cave was cool. I just wasn't prepared for it. I had to go twice because the first time, would you believe I forgot a light? I mean, this just doesn't even make sense. One says you need to grow it so you can play Santa for the babies. I thought of that too. They're too young really for Santa just yet. Ezekiel, he's awesome. Eleanor, his sister, like she's new to the biz. She's new to the family. So, she's like this big and very sassy, whereas Ezekiel is all over the place. Like the kid, when it's time to go to bed, it cracks me up because it's like you give him the bottle and he's up in your lap or whatever, just kind of sitting there with you. And he does his own bottle thing. And then when he's done, he just hands you the bottle and then holds his hand out like, okay, pacifier, give him the passy. And then you hand him the passy, puts it in, and he goes to bed. I don't even go to bed that easy. I'm serious. Carolyn hands me the bottle and it's like, I'm going to cry for 30 minutes before I even get the passy in my mouth. Okay, it's a bad joke. But seriously, the kid goes to bed like a pro. But he's crazy. Like during the day, though, he's into everything. He's a lot of fun. Eleanor is just so different. She's quieter than he was as a baby, a lot quieter than he was as a baby. As a baby, as a little baby, he was, just ornery then, just loving to get into everything. He always had something to cry about, whine about, laugh about, or whatever. Eleanor's just sassy. She just doesn't say a whole lot. She just sits there and just takes it all in. I'm expecting them, though, as time goes on, for it to change. And Ezekiel doesn't have a whole lot to do with Eleanor. It's like he looks at her as if she's sort of a piece of the couch right now. Like he knows she's there. And as long as she doesn't crimp his style, he's okay with it. So I'm thinking by next Christmas, the Santa thing comes into play, maybe. I don't know. Well, either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. I might get creative with Santa. Santa might wear green or something. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. But it has been a crazy year, though. Carol and I went to Pittsburgh for a day, like literally a few hours, just to get some video to make a top 7 or something about Pittsburgh. We just weren't there long enough. But it's 4 hours away, and it's like, Carol and I were thinking about it. I'd never been to Pittsburgh. I don't know, drove around. I think we drove through there when I was a kid on the interstate. And then we got to right over the mountain there as you go into Pittsburgh. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. You're still in the Appalachian Mountains in Pittsburgh. So you're like surrounded by mountains. And we crossed over this ridge line through a tunnel. They built a tunnel. Instead of just building a road, they built a tunnel. It makes sense. The weather in Pittsburgh is not exactly Florida. So you drive through this tunnel. And somewhere along the way, we got on this toll road. And it said, hey, we will just mail you. Bryn, you picked perfect time. And I'm talking about Pittsburgh as we speak. And this toll road, it essentially says, we'll mail you, your bill or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's different. Well, that's awful nice of them. So I guess, they get a picture of your tags and then they mail you the bill. And if I'm not mistaken, the bill was like $42. And I'm like, I've never paid $42 in my life for a toll road. That's some serious tollage there. And the tunnel looked like it was built during the Great Depression. I mean, I'm just saying, it was just kind of weird, but the city was awesome. Matter of fact, one of the best cities we probably visited as far as just overall friendliness, and everything's just kind of like there. You're walking here and there. It's not as Pittsburgh reminds me a little bit of another version. And don't, if you're from Pittsburgh watching this, when it's not live, but if you're from Pittsburgh, no offense at all. It's weird because it reminds me of Detroit. Understand, I was born in Detroit, have family in Michigan there, south of Detroit. I'm a huge Detroit fan. And matter of fact, go Big Blue, because Michigan is going to the Big Ten championship again. Anyway, so being there in Pittsburgh, there was a Detroit vibe to it, not just because steel mills and that kind of thing, not the industrial 20th century thing. It's the way it's laid out to where there's a lot of suburbs, that's boroughs or whatever, that kind of, all of that's kind of Pittsburgh. And so that was kind of interesting. But as far as downtown was concerned, it was just awesome. Old architecture mixed with new architecture, really pretty. There on the riverfront, they got a great park. The park, it's fall. When we were there, it was fall, and it wasn't cold yet. It's actually, I would say that this year, fall and winter are kind of delayed. We're not really getting into winter just yet. Pittsburgh's kind of the same. I mean, cold temperatures now, it's cooled off, absolutely, but the snow hasn't hit yet. But we were definitely still in fall at the time. And it's a strange thing there at the river park. There wasn't a whole lot going on. We were there, I think, on a Monday. So it wasn't like happening. But you can see where just Pittsburgh goes nuts over their sports teams, over their activities. There's just a lot to do. There's a great vibe. But yeah, we went to Pittsburgh this year, and that was a blast. We had some good feedback on that. That's one of those videos that'll take a year or so before it starts getting any serious, feedback and serious views. But like I said earlier, this is the channel this year crossed the 2 million view threshold, which I'm like, all right, that's really cool. Obviously you'd like to have more views, but hey, I'm just happy with what we have. It seems like we turned 1 million views last year, I think. Maybe it was the year before. I can't remember. But hey, I'll take another 1 million views. It's all right. We're not as quite, we weren't as quite as successful in 2022 as we were in 2021, which is really weird. But here's the thing. I think I made half of the videos in 2022 that I made in 2021. So, I mean, those statistics are kind of back and forth. Carolyn did buy, I don't want to get it because it's actually drying on this chair, but she got herself a Pittsburgh, or I got it for her, as a long sleeve tee Pittsburgh shirt. She loves, she's a huge Steelers fan. And that goes back to me watching the Tennessee Titans, because they never had the Detroit Lions on anywhere on our sports package back in Chattanooga. So we watched the Lions, or the Titans, and Titans are, of course, Tennessee, but they played Pittsburgh a lot. And a lot of times on that channel, it was like AFC, like that channel was dedicated to the AFC. So if Tennessee wasn't playing the Steelers, then they would come on next, the next game. I think that's how it worked. But either way, that's when Carolyn first started watching football. I mean, again, I'm going back. We've been married 17 years last Saturday. So I'm going back like 15, 16 years ago. And so 15, 16 years ago, that's when Carolyn fell in love with football. Now she watches the Wolverines, the Michigan, my Michigan team there. She watches the Wolverines with me. She pulls, go Michigan. And again, it's been a great year for Michigan. Bridgie says, if it was the one she was wearing on whatever videos, I love it. It was. That's it. And I'm going to get her some more stuff. I'm going to get her the jersey, an actual jersey. There's a Palomalo jersey that they had there at the gift shop at, I don't think it's not Three River anymore. It's something else. But it's a sports jersey, but it was Palomalu's sports jersey, that his number, whatever. That was her first player she remembered because of his hair and all that stuff, and the Head and Shoulders commercials. I don't know if you guys remember that. I want to get her one of those. And there was something else. I think one of those crazy towels things, because that's a Pittsburgh thing. I've been watching football my whole life, so I appreciate Pittsburgh fans. I appreciate what Pittsburgh brings to the table. And being like a Lions fan and a Titans fan, I don't usually admit in public I'm a Lions fan. They won 3 games this year, so we're proud. We're proud. If you're a Lions fan, you've been in therapy for 50 years. And I blame Henry Ford, and we'll get into that some other time. Bridgie says, Troy with a curly hair, and it's a terrible towel. That's right, terrible towel. Thank you, Brent. It's a terrible towel. And I want to get her one of those. See, I keep doing this as if I have a towel in my hand. But yeah, it's a terrible towel, and want to get her one of those, the jersey. There was something else, maybe some sweats. I'm not sure. I can't remember what we looked at in there. But we talked about it. And she was going to leave that day because everything's so expensive. The jersey that I want for was like $120. She goes, "Oh, don't do that today. Not today." And for Carolyn, what that means is don't spend that money on me. And I hate that because I love spending money on my wife. That's like my thing. So, but I made her get that one. I was like, try this on, or, held it up to her, whatever. And we walked out of there. But the jersey I want is a little more expensive. So it's kind of like an Amazon purchase because it's a little cheaper, a little less expensive online. But we went to Pittsburgh. We went to Florida, and it was for a conference. It wasn't for YouTube. It's funny because you watch the videos and you think all we do is travel, and it's like, no, it's actually not at all. But the way we make the videos, it does make it look spread out and like we're just going everywhere all the time. And of course, you guys, the guys that are in the chat room right now, you guys know us, and kind of how we do that, how we pull that off. So we went to a conference in Florida, and while there, went to our family's favorite beach. When I say that loosely. It's not every individual in our family's favorite beach, but it's my favorite beach, and that's where we used to go a lot in the summers. That and Jekyll Island, which is Mom's favorite beach. But we would go to we went to Cocoa Beach and celebrated just life. There's an avenue there called Marion Avenue. It's always fun for us to get a picture there and enjoyed that moment. The conference was grueling, to say the least. That conference was, not every conference you go to should be great. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if there's rules about that, but just trust me. This conference was, I've been to dental appointments that were less painful and awful. And yeah, anywho, but it was in Jacksonville. And so while in Jacksonville, I got to enjoy a little bit of just, looking out the window of the hotel. I had a good room and looked out the beautiful window there. So yeah, it's been kind of a crazy year. Of course, made some more videos in West Virginia, a lot of videos in West Virginia. And one of the reasons why we've made so many videos in West Virginia this year, and I know, Bryn, you're originally from that area. One of the reasons why we've made more videos in West Virginia is simply for the fans there, the people that respond to our videos and have something to say and kind of get what we're doing. They tend to be Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. But we don't get, believe it or not, as many videos as we've made. I think we've made at least a third of our videos are made in Virginia because this channel kind of, quote, hit. In other words, we became partnered or whatever right as we moved into Virginia. But Virginia hasn't given us the views that West Virginia has, or Tennessee, or Kentucky. And I would even argue out west in Juan's part of the country, out in Arizona. A lot of our viewers are from Arizona because of that one video. And then they kind of just started liking the channel. But we've not been able to travel as much as we would want to. I mean, there's a lot of things this year. It was just too far, too much. We had too much going on to really get into it. And I miss being able to do that. It's funny coming off of 2021, because 2020, we actually traveled a lot more than we did this year. 2021, we traveled a lot more than we did this year. But it's funny because coming off of the virus of unspecified origin, coming off of those 2 years, it's like everything, somebody hit the play button. And so everything's back on. So now we're having to learn to navigate again. And we've kind of been in that situation for 6 or 7 months. We did get to spend a lot of time in the Appalachian Highlands. And I guess if you were to tell me the highlight of our summer, if you were to ask me about the highlight of our summer and our year, I guess by default, there were highlights throughout the whole thing. But for Carolyn and myself both, I think some of our best times were back at the Pisgah Inn and back in the Appalachian Highlands down in North Carolina. There's just not, I don't know that anybody that loves mountains. I want to say that if you don't like mountains, it might even be the wrong channel, but I want you to stick around. But if you love mountains the way we do here on the East Coast, I got to specify that. I don't think you're going to find any better place than that area. The Gilted Adventurer, Toby, what's up? Join us for our inaugural Vlogmas that was unadvertised. Hey, buddy, having festival Navadino, Feliz Navidad. Is that where we're going with that? Okay. Oh, it's at Abba's house. Okay, stay on. Happy Vlogmas to you as well, and enjoy. And tell the family down there at Abba's house I said howdy and hello. But yeah, a lot of celebrations are going on right now. I talked to Billy McDaniel. He's friend of the channel, whatever, goes hiking with me on the channel. You guys know him. If not, just go back through the video catalog. You'll find him in 5-6 videos. He was telling me that members of his family, they had like so many Christmas parties. Like everybody's having Christmas parties again. In some ways, I think 2022 is going to be that year. Everybody sort of went back to it. In 2021, it was still like, shh, don't do that yet. 2020, obviously. But this seems to be the year everything is back in action. Everything's kind of back on. Doesn't feel that way. It still feels uncomfortable. There's still a lot of unrest, You know what I mean? Like, just anybody else feeling weird this year still? Like, they talked about a new normal 3 years ago, and it was kind of weird, but it does feel that way. Oh, 500 Hispanic community members here. Outstanding, Toby. Outstanding. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. One church, man. That's cool. One church. That is cool. That's a goal for us at our church. Is we're extremely diverse church, but we want more. We want more diversity. So we're looking forward to the future. That's one of the reasons why we're redoing our fellowship hall and making it an all-purpose place. We needed a better place for our kids and all that kind of stuff. Our kids there in the church, and to develop more of an area, more activities for our kids group. Anyway, this is the beginning of Vlogmas 2022. We do this every year. We've been doing it since 2018. The tree is not up yet. We're not festive yet. We're still in those beginning stages of Vlogmas, when things are feeling Vlogmasy, but not quite. Here's the thing. On another note, Vlogmas is not actually good for the channel. There, I said it. It's not. Every year that we do Vlogmas, we take a huge dive in our overall views in December. It's really, really weird. And I guess that has something to do with you're stepping out of your normal market. Like if you're making our normal travel videos, and then we go to do this, the views just drop on those videos. But I feel like maybe this is just me. Maybe this is just the Vlogmas Nog talking. Vlogmas Nog. That just sounds wrong. Maybe it's just the Diet Cherry Coke talking. But I think this is the one time my phone just chimed. If you are the one that texted me, I can't get to it right now. But maybe it's just me. But I feel like this is the one time of year where people can casually join us and ask questions about videos during the year, or just talk like we do and laugh a lot. Goodness knows we laughed. We raised money last year. That was great. We've been able to do just some really cool stuff through Vlogmas, and it connects us personally. I feel like I've known Bringy and Juan my entire life. I feel like I've known DGI. I keep calling you by your real name. I'm sorry. But I feel like I've known DGI my whole life. And of course, Kilted Adventure, I have known 20 years, but he's a close friend. And no one in this platform or on this platform is really, really cool. And Vlogmas is just a great time to do that. I had wanted to do this more during the year, but like I said, I just overpromised this past year. And believe it or not, it's more complicated than you might imagine, especially if it were just me. First of all, I don't like to travel just me anymore. I've gotten to where I just can't stand. I mean, Carolyn is just the best. And of course, we'll have an interview with her later in Vlogmas, but she's just the best travel partner imaginable. She's awesome. So we love to travel together. We have a great time. But it's harder to travel with two people than just one. That's a fact. Because you have two people that have to go bathroom. I got to go to the bathroom, and that kind of thing. You have two people that have different kinds of just nuances about traveling together. You have to learn to travel together, and we have. But it makes it more difficult if the situation may be right for doing a live stream, while it may not be right for me or her in the situation. It just adds nuance, and I'm not going to travel by myself. It's not going to happen. I'm just too old for that. I like my wife with me. I like traveling with Carolyn. But anyway, back to Vlogmas. Vlogmas opens up the door to be able to connect with people like I have. The 4 that are in here right now, or 3, it keeps bouncing back and forth. And that is why we do Vlogmas. So whoever is, I just have this feeling that the person buzzing me right now is probably in this chat room. I don't know. Brent G says, just wait until you start taking the grandkids with you. You know what? You brought up a very, very interesting point. Wow, that's a great point. We thought about that kind of stuff. They're still too young to do anything big. Okay. I mean, Ezekiel turns 2 this summer. Eleanor is, I'm seriously, she's like, I just keep doing this. And she has jet black, thick hair. It's so pretty. That's exciting to be able to travel together. But if Ezekiel's like his mom, my daughter, my oldest daughter, he's not going to be able to travel in the mountains like we do, because my oldest daughter would get dog sick in the car. I mean, just dog sick and the curves and stuff. So that was difficult. Everywhere we went, Anna had to bring a bag, a little paper bag. Anyway, I'll spare you the descriptions. So I don't know. I mean, I wanted to take them this winter to Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's what, 4 hours from here, and it is significantly colder in Hershey, Pennsylvania than it is in Harrisburg. Harrisonburg is we're at, I think, 1,800 feet elevation, right where we're at, close to 2,000. I think this house is like right at 2,100, but the overall elevation of the Harrisburg is like 1,800, if I'm not mistaken, 1,800 feet, which is that's pretty significant. East Coast, that's significant as far as weather differences. Yet Hershey, Pennsylvania is so much colder, and it's just 4 hours up the road. So you wouldn't think it would be that significant, but it is that significant. When Carol and I went to Hershey, and the theme park was open, and it was so cold. I think it was something, I think wind chill and all, it was like 19, 18 degrees. And people were walking around dressed like you're supposed to dress when it's 18 degrees, but they were totally fine with it. That's the only way I know how to describe it. They were just okay with it being cold. Like, what? It's cold. Dress for it. And I'm like in blue jeans and a thin jacket, and Carolyn is as well. And we looked at the theme park, and the roller coasters are going full throttle like it's nothing. And I'm thinking, aren't they worried about something icing over and not realizing, not thinking they're from there. They get it. So we didn't go to that part of Hershey. We went to like the kids part of Hershey, the little kids part of Hershey, which it was cool. I got a video here if you want to watch it. For some reason, it was shadow banned a little bit. There's like I can't get any traction on that video at all, but check it out. I actually changed the name of it and everything, trying to get more traction. It didn't work. So, but we didn't do the outside thing. All of that was to say this: we froze. So I can't imagine taking Ezekiel and Eleanor to Hershey this year, even though I actually thought about it. I should say that I thought about it, but at the end of the day, I just said no. It's too cold. And Carolyn was like, "Huh." It's beautiful, the Christmas lights, and then of course chocolate. Come on, I've done a little better since February. You guys know diabetes and all that stuff. Kind of a discovery here on the channel, and did a little better this year with sugar. A little starting in February of this year. Slowly just got back in the habit. Every now and then I'll fall off the wagon with Coca-Cola. No, I'm not sponsored, but I'm willing. Coca-Cola is probably the Achilles heel of trying to do right. And Brent, you're right. Dramamine works. They just have to be a little older for that. Just you're looking at 4 or 5 years, I guess. I think 4 or 5 years old. I think you can do it. I don't remember. We started giving Anna Dramamine, I think, when she was like 11 or 12. Maybe she can pop in here later and she'll tell us. Walter Langston says, hi, everyone. Hello, Walter. Been watching some of Walter's videos. He's got some really cool stuff out as far as his area there, West Virginia. Just interesting stuff. Toby, the Kilted Adventurer there, you guys know we did a video this year. We had so much fun on that. And I'm hoping that during Vlogmas, Toby, myself, we can get together and talk about that adventure. Just talk about how it was fun. And watching him, his channel, I'm telling you, when his channel catches fire, it's gonna dwarf this channel, and he's gonna have millions of subscribers. I'm convinced of it. But watching him out there in West Virginia, Monongahela National Forest, in the middle of nowhere, and the leaves are changing, and he's out there in that place I talk about all the time on this channel, that place in the middle of nowhere that's like one of the most remote places east of the Mississippi. And just we come over this little hill, and these big giant farms that go back in families for 200 years, like before America was America or whatever. Just watching his mouth drop, I'm like, wow, it's just unbelievable. So that was a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun. Speaking of both channels, Bridgie says it was beautiful on both channels. Oh yeah, look, Toby's got a great camera. He's got a great eye. That's one of the things I like about his work. He's just got a great eye for beauty and able to capture that. And he's going to get better and better and better. Obviously, we capture things a little differently. We have a different viewpoint, but I enjoy watching his stuff. I always recommend his channel to people when I'm just talking about my channel. I'll say, hey, check out this channel. It's just really good stuff. And I've watched his. I thought he was going to get partnered before Christmas. I blame YouTube on that. I don't blame him, because he's got the content for it. It's just, yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous. For a minute there, Brent, I thought you were talking about. For a minute, I thought you were talking about the Breathe channel that I've all but abandoned that we're going to try to do something else with that, maybe starting in January. Go a different direction with that. Go more of a spiritual channel. We need more of those channels. And as of right now, I know it feels like sometimes if you watch any type of Christian channels, it feels like we have a million of them because the algorithm starts feeding you all of them. But we're just in a different time right now where I feel like people need encouragement. I feel like people need to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. Never forget that about this channel. I'm a pastor, and but first and foremost, I'm a believer in Christ. I'm a husband. I'm a father, and the bottom line is that we more than ever we need Jesus Christ now more than ever. And his commandment to us is to love each other. So we need him and we need each other. And so if there's any message that I want to get out during Vlogmas is we need Jesus Christ and we need to love each other more than ever. But yeah, Walter says been working on some videos and I love my new edit app. Excellent, excellent. Are you still editing on your phone, Walter? Let me know that. Brady said he was thinking about that the other day. I almost like put something. I might do that this month. I don't know. It's not exactly a laid back month. That's the weirdest thing. This might be one of the busiest Decembers overall that Carol and I have had. Again, when 2021 came to an end, it's like just gradually somebody hit the play button and everything just started going, back to normal speeds. But yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot too. It's like I feel like I'm wasting real estate over there with it just sitting. But it's really hard to get motivated to make a brief video. And I guess it's because you look at the subscriber count, it's like 55 subscribers, and you're like, oh man. And it doesn't matter because like right now there's 5 people in here, and maybe by the time it's all said and done, 50 people watch this particular video. That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all because I know what our Vlogmas is. I know what I'm trying to do. And we have some videos that do well and some don't, and that's fine. It's great for that. But it feels like you're starting all over when you go back and you start another channel. It's just like, it just feels like a grind and it's lost. One of the things YouTube, I love making videos. I love editing videos. I've learned so much and I love it because Brandon, some of you guys and Juan, some of you guys that have been around, this channel a long time, you're so complimentary and talk about how far the editing's come and all that stuff. I love that. And it has. And I've learned that the better you capture on camera, obviously the better it's going to look. No matter how good you get at editing, you got to get it in your camera, right? You got to capture those moments. And so it's just, but still the magic of learning to edit. I mean, if you've been with us since 2019, go back to some of my 2019 stuff and realize all of the green screen that's in it. It's just ridiculous of me trying to learn stuff. It was a lot of fun, but editing videos now, it just doesn't have that kind of magic anymore. That kind of, oh, this is so fun. It just doesn't have that. It's more not a job, not work. I don't want to call it work. I've worked. That editing videos is not work. I feel the need to do better, or rather just do the right research on this channel. And I feel like we do a great job at that. I'd put our research, especially over the past 4 years, I would put our research up against any video on YouTube. We do a solid job. What I have a hard time with is going to breathe and just kind of filming and stringing things together. But again, only 55 views, or something like that. Maybe 55. There's some of those videos that have like 12 views. So that's just kind of like, it kind of gets boring. Walter Langston said, been editing on my desktop, just loading some from my phone. I got you. Yeah, I remember, again, when I started out, you guys know this. When I started out editing on my phone. And my voiceovers were like in my closet back in Chattanooga. I would go in there and there's clothes hanging. It was like a walk-in closet. And I'm sitting there and I would just read from a script that I had scribbled out or printed out. And that was just how it went. I don't know why I kept doing it. It was just, looking back, it was incredibly hard. A 15-minute video could take me 25 hours, 30 hours for 2 weeks, like a total of 60 hours for like a nothing video. Because I didn't know anything about editing. Right now have been learning to edit. Yeah, I'll tell you, Walter, that's where it's at. The more you learn, the better your videos are. And the more you learn how to capture images, like what you're wanting, because you know the tools that you have. And instead of just filming a bunch of stuff, this is what I did for a long time. I would just film all kinds of stuff, wouldn't really worry about the shot or anything. And then you get it into your editor and you have a big job to do trying to make sense of what you've captured. And so I like going into videos now a lot better than I used to, where I kind of know what I'm doing in the sense of knowing what I'm wanting to capture. Bridgie said, I bet it hurts not to say anything. I know you thrive on talking. Yeah. It's like a song and dance routine. I love doing research and telling people about the experience that we're having when it comes to our videos. It's we when we were on 15, I could not find a story when we were on West Virginia Route 15. We just couldn't find a story. We're above 4,000 feet a few times, definitely above 3,500. Lots of we're like in the clouds, fog clouds, and this is old mining country. And I knew there was a story there, but couldn't find it. And it was just a strange kind of thing where the only thing I knew to talk about was the road was really cool. And so you try to in those situations it's difficult, but a voiceover is a lot easier than this live stream of consciousness when you're just talking. There's no script. It's a lot easier making one of those videos because you do the research. And it got some background in that. I know what I'm doing on that. This not as much. This is definitely a stretch for me. Bridgie said I was talking about the breed. Oh, talking about the breach. Well, this one too, though. It's like I don't usually lack in words, lack in substance, but not words. Yeah, one was saying, see if you can take a class in your area for editing. I'm not sure if you're talking to Walter or myself, but yeah, I recommend that and would love to do that if it fit into our schedule. I mean, that's the hardest thing. That's the thing. Our schedule is odd. And in order for Carolyn and I to be completely disconnected from with each other, as far as we have to literally leave in a direction where the cell phones aren't reliable. That's how that works. Walter Langston said, if you get time to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, you'll love it. I keep meaning to get to Harper's Ferry. I know the historical importance. I could probably write a paper on Harper's Ferry from scratch right now, like without looking anything up. Dates included. I haven't been able to get there during the time of year I want to go. I want to go in the fall during peak, and we've just not been able to do that. That was actually an option for Toby at Kilted Adventurer. I think I said Adventures a while ago, but that was one of the options we had, and we went to the wilderness instead. Toby says he's back for a review. My YouTube friend Jim Hayes Hiking put out a video today, announced that he's done with YouTube. It's definitely a grind. Thanks for your encouragement, Bill, and the community. I think when people get into YouTube, there's a little bit of dopamine release, in your brain from likes and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. And absolutely, there's a dopamine thing, just like getting a Facebook like or somebody sharing your post or whatever. I'm convinced, and Toby knows I've told him this 50 times, and I would tell Walter this and anybody else on YouTube. You've got to fall in love with the process of making videos more than the dopamine thing goes away. And whether you have, I think the Appalachian Mountains Facts video, I think it got like 5,000 views right now. I'm not sure. It keeps fluctuating. I don't know how that does that. It'll jump up and then somehow there'll be a bunch gone, whatever. I love YouTube. It's great. But I think the process is what I love most. First of all, I love getting out with my wife. That's like my favorite thing in the whole world, is for us to go riding around in the mountains or just going on any kind of adventure together. So I love that. So in those moments, you're able to capture video. And then again, finding the story, then editing, which is a great way to remember that adventure, by the way, so kind of locking it in your brain. So that process is what I love. Toby knows I've said this 50 times, and I'm sure he would agree. But the dopamine, if that's what you're chasing, I think you're going to burn out quickly. I've been doing this since, I think, 16, and then I came back with it 17. Like I fell out of it for a while where I wasn't consistent, but I think by 17 I was pretty consistent. But I fell in love with the process, and I just got over. I didn't even know, and I've said this in Vlogmas last year and the year before that, I didn't even know that I had videos that were, quote, hitting. Didn't even know it. I was just making videos. And then when I found out, I was like, wow, that's really cool. Walter says that he was at Harper's Ferry in the fall and loved it. Yeah, I love what you just said. If you film what you love, that's beautifully stated, Walter. That's beautifully stated. If you film what you love, It's fun. And that's kind of how that's what we feel. Carolyn gets, sometimes Carolyn's into the YouTube aspect, sometimes she's not. Sometimes she's like the producer where she's like, you need to work this part of the story, you need to work that part of the story. It's very, very helpful. If you watched our video on rest areas, that was all Carolyn. She doesn't get on camera a lot, she doesn't do any of that stuff, but she just kept saying, we need to do a video about rest areas. Who does that? I did find a couple of videos about rest areas, but we went into a lot of detail in that video. It was so much fun. And so, she mapped out the rest areas, and we went on a trip, man. We're just hitting one rest area after another, filming the outside, which is weird. I mean, think about it. You're pulling up on a rest area and you're at your camera out. It's kind of weird. So we're trying to be careful. It's a great video though. Check it out. You'll learn quite a bit on that. But so true. And Walter, that's the other thing, is that I've noticed that you always focus on not always focus, but you're around railroad tracks a lot. I think finding a niche like that is important. That's why I think Toby's channel is going to be huge, is because he's got a good niche, the kilts. That's his kind of thing. And from there, you can go all kinds of different places, but that's a memorable aspect of his channel. That's really cool. And I never thought of having a niche. The best I could do is, because my nose is huge, is calling the channel A Nose for Life, and taking the conversation about how big my nose is out of the equation. I don't know. That was my idea at the time, but it's not exactly niche. It's not exactly something that people are going to remember every time. And up until this year, I wasn't as proud. I'll tell you something. If you haven't watched my last Blue Ridge Parkway video, it is my favorite. I know Brent has, because I talked to her about it, but it is by far my favorite. My all-time favorite video is that last Blue Ridge. I mean, let me say it this way. My favorite video that I've made is the last Blue Ridge Parkway video, because I got some shots that I kept trying to get in other attempts. But when I would watch them on the screen, I'd be like, that's not it, or that's out of focus, or that's not the right framing. That's too fast, too slow. But on that video, I actually got some at least closest yet to some of the turns that I wanted to make, and where you're setting up the shot, what you're going after. And that, to me, that's fun. I think if you're on YouTube chasing likes and all that stuff, man, you'd be miserable. At least as a part-time YouTuber. If you're full-time and you love it, you love every second, well, it's not, it's this conversation really isn't for you. Bridgie said it was mesmerizing. I loved it. I'm so glad you did too. And, Carol and I, we always say this shot's for Bridgie, or this is for, this is for Juan, just knowing what you guys comment about and like so much. And that's always a lot of fun. David Lowe says, hello, brother Marion. You look great, man. I'm looking rough tonight. We're redoing the ceiling tile in our fellowship hall, our all-purpose space. That's what we're using it for now, is an all-purpose space. So we're redoing the ceiling tiles and painting and all this stuff. So I've been putting in ceiling tiles a lot today and all kinds of stuff. So I'm a little bit, I've got the sinus thing going from the dust getting in my nose and all that kind of stuff. It's good to see you, man. Kilted Adventure says, people love the kilt, and I love hiking in nature. Growth inhibitor. For me, absolutely. David Lowe says, you look like you've been putting in ceiling tiles. Yeah, you like this 1970s color I got going on here? I'm telling you, a tent maker made this shirt. I don't even know how this shirt. I don't know. I think this was my shirt from yesteryear when I was a lot heavier. Just look at my earlier videos, circa 2017, 2016. So it was a rough year anyway. I was falling off that ladder, or out of the tree stand, I should say, and crushed my ankle, and spent, the next year recuperating and getting fat. But spent the next year after that getting skinny. It's kind of crazy. It's really funny because every Vlogmas, I have to bring up breaking my leg. Every single Vlogmas. Walter Langston says, broke his camera today, so now you just have your phone to film with. Well, what you need to do on that, Walter, is I would go on your channel and asking people to help you with it. I'm serious. Ask them to help you. You never know, especially your subscribers and things like that. This is actually a great time to film, though, in the wintertime, as far as getting stuff that you're not able to capture in the spring and in the summer and fall, because there's leaves there. And you've heard me talk about this before, but when winter hits, you're able to film stuff, rock formations, and things that you can't capture in other times of the year. So this isn't exactly a wash. This time of year is not exactly a wash when it comes to filming outside. In fact, we're still going to release videos in December from being in the outdoors. I remember another one of my favorite videos from year before last was at Snowshoe, and that's in Snowshoe, West Virginia. It's a ski resort right there around Cranberry Wilderness and Highland Scenic Highway and all that stuff. Absolutely breathtaking, and you can see Snowshoe Wilderness from Highway 50 or Route 15 that we talked about in that video a couple of videos ago. David Lowe says, took a cool drive today in the mountains. You can see so much this time of year. Yeah, it's breathtaking, especially where you live down there in Athens, outside of Athens, Tennessee, around the Unicoi Mountains. Those mountains are amazing anyway, but there are lots of beautiful rock formations. Walter Langston said, this is the best time of year to film old ghost towns and abandoned rail lines. I found something out, Walter, because you had put out videos last year, I think a little bit the year before that. And I noticed back then that a lot of your content was rail lines and things like that. But we've been in that area a lot. And man, you're right. It's loaded with ghost towns. We're calling them ghost towns because they're just empty little shanty villages from coal mining days. There's a lot of that around there. I mean, so you got a good thing going on with your channel. You really do. That an interesting portrayal of that area, and a unique one because it's coming from somebody local. And that's pretty awesome. That part of the country is beautiful anyway. But then you have all this, Americana, old America kind of thing going on. Things are changing in West Virginia. I mean, when you drive across the mountain here in Virginia, 33 from here, Highway 33 from Harrisonburg across the mountain into the West Virginia highlands over there. It stays packed with people in that part of West Virginia driving to this part of Virginia because of employment. But I'm thinking that's going to change in the next few years. I'm telling you, I think it's going to change. I think West Virginia is going to turn into a gold mine of tourism. For some reason, I just don't think a lot of people know what is in West Virginia. They don't get it. It's all mountains, all of it. And so it almost feels like you're out west, Juan, like you've gone out west around that, and it's failing me right now. It's that, I guess it's a spruce forest or whatever before you get to Flagstaff, and I cannot remember. Elevation climbs up, and you're starting to get into. It's again, the best way to say it is right outside Flagstaff, and it's absolutely beautiful. And West Virginia reminds me of that. Toby says the best waterfalls are in the winter. I think that's truer in where I used to live and where you're at and in the South. It's not so much like that in West Virginia. I mean, obviously, if you have more water in the fall, in the winter, in spring, obviously the waterfalls are going to be bigger. But it's not like it is down there where waterfalls go to a trickle in the summertime and in the fall. So it's sort of miserable. But it's almost cheating. It's like, of course they're going to flow. When I'm looking for a good waterfall, I'm wanting a waterfall that's a waterfall all year round, and not just a trickle like your plumbing is leaking in the bathroom or something. David Lowe says almost heaven, West Virginia. Man, I'm telling you, check it out. It's worth your time. West Virginia is worth your time, especially if you're an outdoorsman. You like to camp, you like to do that kind of stuff. It's worth your time. You can hit the Shenandoah Valley here in Virginia. And of course, it's bound by the Blue Ridge Parkway and the Alleghenies. It's bound by the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Alleghenies. And you can literally spend a week here in one wilderness area or another, on one side of the valley or another. And it's really awesome. My favorite, because I'm spoiled. Okay, I'm spoiled. We spent so much time in Shenandoah National Park that I don't give it the credit that it deserves. In fact, I'm almost a critic sometimes of their policies and whatnot. But it's still beautiful. It's still absolutely amazing. And some of the views are just breathtaking. Some of the views are some of the best in America by far. But I've just leaned towards West Virginia. The people are wonderful, first and foremost. The people are wonderful. And when you're in a wilderness in West Virginia, it's a wilderness. Whereas in Virginia, there's an illusion of you're in the middle of nowhere a lot of times, but you're not. If you walk in any direction for less than an hour, you're going to find civilization. Juan Thomas says it's the Coconino. That's it. The Coconino National Forest. Coconino. That's what it is. Sorry, the Coconino National Forest. That is definitely it, and it's absolutely beautiful because you got all these. I guess they're spruce trees, but you still got a desert thing going on. West Virginia doesn't have a desert thing going on, but you have all these red spruce trees at the high elevation, and it just don't. It feels like you're out west. To me anyway, from my memory. If I had my choice to go anywhere, one right now, and you know what I'm going to say, it would be to Arizona. Carol and I are dying to get back. We're going to New England in the fall. That's almost definite, barring any health issues or anything like that. Is that we're supposed to go to Vermont in the fall of 2023? If not for that, and that was one of those bucket lists that Carolyn's wanted since she was, golly, since I've known her, probably before. She wants to do a fall in Vermont. That week tour that every old person goes on through Vermont, and I'm going to be one of them. I'm going to be right there, being like, yeah, Vermont. Walter Langston said, you can hike for days on the Appalachian Trail and not see your town or farm. True. That is true. David Lowe says, wow, you guys are going to fall. Or, yes, we're going to fall in Vermont. We're going leafing. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think they call it leafing, but it should be. That sounds like a good thing to me. We're going to chase leaves in Vermont. Maybe hit there's another state right there. Golly, I'm losing my mind. But there's another state right there beside it. What's the name of that state? Vermont, and it's the other one. But yeah, we're going to chase leaves. Juan Thomas says, if I was young and my body was in good shape, I would do mines and mine shafts here. Oh, that'd be awesome. In Arizona, there are many in the middle of nowhere. And no, definitely not Rhode Island, Dave. Definitely not Rhode Island. Definitely not Delaware. It's Vermont. And can't. What is wrong with me? Yeah, I think mines would be cool. It's just I'd be a little scared going into mines. One, I mean, I just would. I mean, even if I was in great shape. New Hampshire, thank you, Bryn. Thank you. God, but yeah, Vermont's the target, but we may swing some New Hampshire. I haven't been there since I was a kid. We went into a deli in one of these little towns when I was young. I was 8 years old. Never forget this. And the lady behind the counter asked my dad and my mom if they wanted a grinder. And mom being from Middle Tennessee, very brilliant woman, but Tennessee. And dad was raised in Michigan, but had been in the South a long time. And she said, what's a grinder? What are you talking about? And it was a sandwich, like a roast beef sandwich. And they call it a grind, I guess, because a machine grinder, you grind it out with the little, I don't know, but I'll never get over that. That's what this nice lady they have a crazy thick accent too. It's pretty sweet. I love accents. I love regional accents. I love it. I love it that in the Appalachian Mountains that there are 3 ways to pronounce Appalachia, and everybody thinks their way is right. That is the funny. If you're ever bored, go to my first facts about Appalachian Mountains and read the comments. It is hysterical. The people that correct the way I say Appalachia, because I said it Appalachia. And in my region where I was from, that is the way a lot of people pronounced Appalachia, because there is no right way. And the people that swear by Appalachia, which is what the way I made myself learn to say it, because they're the most vocal, the people that say it that way. And it was just hysterical at the amount of people who said Appalachia is the correct. I live here, and not realizing Appalachia is a huge, vast area with all kinds of regional nuances and food differences. Listen, if you're in this part of the Appalachian Mountains, whether it's the Allegheny side or whether it's in the Blue Ridge, either way, and you order biscuits and gravy in the morning for breakfast, I assure you, you're going to go, wow, this tastes different. This is different than, let's say, around the Smokies or the Unicoi, down there where David lives, where D-Lo lives. It's different. I mean, it is daylight and dark different. And the mashed potatoes here are I would call it bland, but that sounds mean, because there are nuances there that locals enjoy and appreciate and brag about. Just like in the South, we have the Deep South, the Southern Appalachian Mountains. It's different. But even within, from one small range to another small range, there are nuances and differences, especially with accents. I'd love to get into this Vlogmas and point out some differences in accents between, let's say, here in this part of the Appalachian Mountains versus back in the highlands of, like, let's say North Carolina or East Tennessee, definitely Southeast Kentucky, even though that's the other side of the valley in the Cumberlands. The Cumberlands are the southern version, if you will, of the Alleghanies. Juan Thomas says the worst thing you have to worry about when going in, talking about the caves, the mines from way back, are snakes. I ran into one in the mines, and I've gone down into, and snakes are not a big thing if you treat them with respect. You would think though that the colder you go back into mines, like it would get, the farther you go back in mines, that it'd be too chilly for them. It'd be too cold. I don't know. I have no idea. I figured, or maybe you're talking about the outside. I would just always imagine that you'd be okay with snakes, if you were really deep. I don't know. It's not something that I would think about doing. Listen, when Billy and I went to explore over in West Virginia, the Sinks of Gandy, which is, I'm talking about a vanilla mine. There's nothing, or not mine, but cave. There's nothing to it, but it gets dark in there, and you have to do some maneuvering with your body to get through parts of the cave. It's kind of scary. So a mine, man, I'd be scared. It'd be like a Scooby Doo thing, where you kick something and the whole thing comes down. Walter Langston said, snakes love the old coke ovens. I bet. Oh, so one, they do stay near the open. It makes sense. I guess you'd feel better the farther you go back in, which that's kind of scary. But that would keep you walking. Like so worried about a snake and finding a snake that you'd be like, yeah, let's keep going. I'm one of those guys too that, like, if I'm in the woods or if we're on a back road, the excitement of discovering new territory, just going deeper and deeper into a mine or into a cave or into the forest, that intrigues me. It's just when you get way back there and you're kind of stuck. That's a habit of mine when I'm hiking that I've kind of broken now, which is going too far because you're just having such a good time enjoying nature. I've broken that. So I'm looking forward to doing some, hopefully I'll get to do some more hiking this next year. We didn't do nearly enough hiking in 2022 that we did in 2021 or any time before. And that's regretful. That's regretful. Very little hiking. Toby was giving me a hard time, when we were hiking in Monongahela National Forest because I was winded. I mean, I was having a hard time. And we ascended about 1.5 miles. It was nothing. I think it was 1.5 miles. I think it was 1.5 miles down there and back or something like that. And we get back up to the top of the plateau there. And I'm not spent. I'm just winded. I was like, he was just sitting there watching me. I'm like, shut up, skinny boy. Get on up that mountain. I know where we are. You don't. I have the keys. I'm going to throw the keys in the river. But yeah, it was cool stuff, though. Cool stuff. Well, guys, our first hour of Vlogmas 1 is over. And I'm looking at the clock here, and I want to tell you all how grateful I am that you guys jumped on here and we had Vlogmas together. It was so awesome. Remember that we begin at 7 Eastern time, which I know that's a little early for some of you, so get here where you can. That's the goal, is 7 o'clock. It used to be 9. 9 seemed to be too late. Maybe we bump it to 8. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let me know what you think. And you can always watch this on the replay and still leave comments. You can always leave a message there. However you want to do it. Most of you guys know how to get me on Facebook, which is, I had to think a minute, Bill Marion Life. My name, and then add life. And then just leave it, talk to us that way. That's fine too. We love you guys too, Brent. And we guys hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow night somewhere. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.